Hey guys, Chicky DeMaine, aka Dabu.com with a video surf forecast update. This forecast update brought to you by Nosara Paradise Rentals. Planning your next trip to Costa Rica? Stay with Nosara Paradise Rentals, Nosara, Costa Rica. Remember, there's no sorrow when you stay in Nosara, NosaraParadiseRentals.com. Taking you right into last night's run of the GFS model forecast. And as you can see, the model has now changed. Our previous forecast was showing that an area of low pressure was going to move in between the Florida Straits and the western tip of Cuba. And as we walk you through the progression, you'll see that the GFS has now shifted, and it looks like a surface trough is going to develop in the southeast Bahamas, very similar to what we saw last week. As we walk you through the progressions, you'll notice the tan shading near Hispaniola, and you'll see how it kind of stretches out over Cuba. And as we get into Wednesday, we start to see things tightening up, and we'll get a little bit deeper southeast flow coming in from the central Atlantic. If you'll see that angle, how that's running up, we'll back you up a little bit. And as you'll see that it starts to tighten up and there's more of a southeast flow to that. So that is a typical southeast flow wind swell. And as we get a little bit deeper into Thursday and Friday, look what the model wants to do. The model wants to develop an area of low pressure east of North Florida as it moves towards the north and the Outer Banks. That'll turn the winds offshore, so that's why we're calling for a possible fun surf alert on Thursday and Friday. Looks to be a 2-day event, but then right behind that, if you'll follow the model, he sets up that high pressure again, stationary out there in the north central Atlantic, and that should help produce or continue with some small rideable surf for an extended period. We're still looking for that first tropical development, and that's the only potential we see right there at the moment. Taking a look at the latest real-time satellite imagery and a couple of areas that we are monitoring, we're looking at the area that's here off the Outer Banks to the southeast of it. And last week, the GFS actually had this north of the banks. And this time of year, folks, anything goes. This get over water and the right environmental conditions come together, and we could see some type of tropical development, regardless of what the models are showing. And we drop down a little bit further to the south of what we were talking about in our original forecast, and this would give us the best chance at some solid surf. But take a look down here in the southeast Bahamas. You can already see that there's already a flow and a pattern starting to develop here. And when we look at the model and what it's kind of proposing, you can see that it's almost right on track. And you get this, see how this easterly flow from this high pressure that's in here is coming in. Now we've got wind shear blowing this way at near 40 to 60 knots. But in the last 24 hours, if we look at the wind shear tendency, we see that in here, wind shear has dropped 5 to 10 knots. So if we can get a little bit more relaxation over here the next 48 to 72 hours with this same setup that we're seeing, and we get convection firing, guys, it could be on. So stay tuned to the forecast.